Ronda comes out, and good reaction here for the crowd in Cincinnati. They kept this for the end. She says she's been debating since Saturday whose title she wants to take, Charlotte's or Rebecca's. She has unfinished business with both, and that for either one of them, their biggest match is with me. But I don't want to help Rebecca or her stagnating title reign. So I could choose Flair and keep Rebecca on my undercard, and everyone will know that I'm the baddest big-time bitch.
She was really rough here. Again, not very good before, but I think she felt even more pronounced in her awkwardness and rustiness. I thought this was too much to give her coming back from it. And, you know, she's not an actress, everybody. You know, despite what you saw in Fast and Furious 7, 6, whatever. She wasn't really. She's a celebrity. She's an athlete, okay. And this was a role that requires somebody with at least a bit more experience doing that sort of public speaking and public performance. She feels like somebody who's whose head is too much in the script and regurgitating dialogue rather than actually living the character. And that just takes time. That takes comfort. She hasn't found it yet. She certainly seems like a long way away from it tonight. So not good.
Becky comes out and calls her a weirdo. And she's spilling nonsense, notes she's the only one to beat Rousey. The two of them represent the biggest match of the past decade, but I wouldn't blame you for coming back with an appetizer like Charlotte before the main course in me. And Becky wants Rousey to choose, and then Rousey grabs her by the arm, throws her to the mat, and tells her she will get her answer on Friday, which the crowd booed. And then Becky says that Rousey fears her and insults Cincinnati. So I thought that It was not a very inspiring appearance by Ronda Rousey. It felt very flat for me. The promo sounded like this Ronda Rousey, had she been paired with Becky Lynch, these crowds would be turning the other way on Ronda and getting behind Becky in a big way, I think.
And I think they were about to do that.
Yeah.
If the segment was any longer. And
the punchline at the end was, like, it's Ronda of all. Well, I guess like it has to be Ronda that delays this decision. But after all this and promoting, and then she says, "Well, I'll tell you on Friday." I understand.
Terrible.
Like, they never said she was going to make her decision, but I mean that at the end of it was like you got this little speech from Ronda, and then wait till Friday, and the crowd booed it. I didn't think it was like a really great appearance.
I thought it was pretty awful.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't know if I would necessarily chalk it up to her not caring. Or...
I'm not saying that's how she came off to me.
Okay.
Like during it just felt like she hasn't cut a promo in a ring in years. Yeah. So I can understand a bit of that. Promos were not her forte to begin with. And it really showed in this segment to me. Like, they kept it short, probably by design. Mm-hmm. And I just thought like this, like just watching her and Becky for the limited interaction they had, I'm just envisioning this. If this was what we were getting every week on television, you would have a big baby face in Becky from these crowds, which have not been really going against many of the characters since they've come back last summer. But I think this program would really put that to the test.
Certainly, yeah. I mean, at this point, I think if you're seeing this version of Ronda Rousey that we saw tonight, even up against Charlotte, the result will be much indifference from this audience. But I mean, I would say you might even, put a wager on perhaps the crowd cheering for Charlotte against Ronda at this point. It's clearly, I think, because of the two people that she's being pitted up against, in Charlotte and Becky, who are both heels. Ronda's supposed to be the babyface, but her appearance tonight was anything but. I felt like her performance was that of somebody who's been completely away from this professional wrestling world for a long, long time, hasn't done a great deal of public speaking in that time, and certainly not in the form of a professional wrestler. So tonight, it felt like she really kind of just hung on her script word for word, and did not feel comfortable at all. And it's a big segment to put somebody out there in, a WrestleMania main event level type of, promo segment to close off a show. And she definitely felt ill-equipped for it. So again,
but even more so, Wade, like it was really further emphasized when, not all that different a circumstance of what we watched seconds later, where you had Lita, who was never renowned for her promos, come out there, big babyface response, and like that was the reaction I think you would have wanted a Ronda Rousey to have. And instead you went off the air and it was like Lita felt like the big star coming out of this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, part of that was, I think the intent was you probably wanted both of them to feel like stars. But I mean, I'll say, Lita has had much more experience doing this than Ronda Rousey has. And I think, as you get older with age, I think for many professional wrestlers, they tend to feel more comfortable. But Ronda never even hit that comfort nor hit that stride, when in the year that she was an active performer. So coming right out here and pretty cold, going right into this, I think she's somebody who really needs to be protected, especially when it comes to talking like this. I think they really have to question the idea of putting her up against another heel here and not having her be a heel herself, because I don't think this audience is going to gravitate towards her.
Yeah. And it wasn't a case of the crowd being tired either. Like they were pretty up for the Ronda segment. When her music hits, that was a pretty good reaction she got coming out. But yeah, I didn't think this was like a great segment from Ronda in this. And the way this was positioned, I mean, they like are going out of their way to kind of lead you towards like Becky and Ronda is the big match. So they, not only does Ronda have to have a much better appearance on Friday, they've got to do something really compelling to make the audience want Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair now, when if the idea is keeping Becky for a date in the future. Because I think like at the end of this, if there's a match you want, like they flat out said, like that is the big match. And from a story perspective, like Becky was the one to beat Rousey in that triple threat. Like that should be Rousey's target.
Yeah. And by this point, I think a lot of us have heard the reports that they've got Ronda for 2 WrestleManias. The idea is that they want to do Charlotte now and Ronda next year. And so you can, I guess, presume they are starting the build for next year's WrestleMania already with this sort of thing. But I just really don't think...
Let's build this year's WrestleMania first, though.
Exactly. And I don't think portraying and convincing the audience that, hey, you're going to pay for the appetizer, okay? Like, wait a year for the main course.
Most stupendous appetizer.
Yeah, we're going to force you the appetizer for dinner. Come back next time and we're going to actually give you dinner.
Oh my God, they're giving you lettuce.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And I don't think a lettuce that'll be very satisfying, because at this point, portraying Ronda the way she has as being this sort of angry, constantly angry, heelish type of character against somebody who also is not very well liked by the audience, that's a recipe for disaster. Not a great salad.
Yeah. I'll repeat myself. Like if it was Ronda and Becky for the next 2 months of TV, I think Becky would be the overwhelming fan favorite going into this, and I think you would see the audience turning on Ronda if this is the version of Ronda you see each week, which I don't even think would be the worst idea either.
I know they think, like, for some reason, like they think Charlotte and Ronda and Becky is by far the biggest match, but I wouldn't say Charlotte and Ronda is the second biggest match. I think Sasha Ronda is the second biggest match, if not even, Becky I think it feels bigger, but I mean Sasha is the bigger star than Charlotte. So I don't know why that's not in contention or something that they're considering.
Well, it ended with Ronda left, and then Lita's music played, and she comes out. She's wearing a Becky Lynch t-shirt, and the crowd is chanting for her. She says how Becky has lifted this division. It's never been hotter. And Becky says, I'm a fan of you, Lita, and calls Becky a fighting champion that never backs down, and thus challenges Becky for Elimination Chamber. Becky says no, and Lita says, if you're scared, just say so. And Becky says, damn it, I can't be scared. Fine, I'll face you. And she got it. But I thought Lita did like very well here, and the crowd was really into it. And I'm glad that they had this to end the show on, because that would have been a really bad ending to the show if they had left it off the Rousey judo throw and then walking out.
Yeah. Honestly, like in hindsight, I feel like you're dealing with a character who's not very good when she speaks. So I think the judo throw would have been fine. Like she should be given one of those silent builds where she just kind of comes out, looks mean, does the move, walks out, doesn't say a word. Anyway, yeah, Lita here. I mean, after on the mic, I don't think Lita is great, but like on the mic after Ronda, like she felt like a real savior of this segment. She has, I suppose, the level of star power you want for a Becky Lynch challenge on a show, I suppose, that they would consider as big as a Saudi Arabia show. But God, like in the Rumble, she did not look good. She looked really, really rough. In this match, I have concern for. But then again, it's also like Saudi Arabia where like shitty matches it feels like it's, I don't know, like just part.
Not the last show. The last show was a really good one.
Was it? Okay. I
don't know the Edge Rollins one. It was certainly the best one of the Saudi Arabia shows since 2018. For sure, It was the best show.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's like Lita is one of the biggest names that was a part of that Rumble. Lita versus Becky has sort of like dream match qualities to it to a casual fan that might spark some interest. So I can understand them doing this.